today we are going to take a look at transposing a melody up or down an octave on page 49. As musicians, we need to be able to do this very often. And sometimes we need to write music for different instruments. And some instruments have a range of notes that they can play. For instance, if you take violins and flutes, they have a high range of voice which we need to write in the treble clef. But a cello or a bassoon may sound low and they need to be written down in the bass clef. So if you take a look at page 62, you can see all the ranges of these instruments. And without further ado, let's get to your exercises on page 49. So your first question, we have to transpose the following tunes down an octave into the bass clef to make them suitable for a cello or a bassoon. So the best way you can do this is by counting 8 steps down from the starting note, like this. So from B you need to count down all the lines and spaces up to the next B. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So your transposed note will be written a ledger line below on the space. So this will be your next B that you need to write in the bass clef in your answer. So you need to write the bass clef and the key signature also in the bass clef. So your B flat will be on the second line and your E flat should be on the third space. And make sure you write the time signature after that, exactly the same. So you need to write any other markings exactly as in the score. If there's a rest, you need to copy them the same. Okay, so now I need to find out how to write this B in the bass clef. So the best way you can do is compare this with the middle C, and this B is just one step below the middle C. So in my bass clef, I write the middle C above the stave, and the same B, if I'm writing in the bass clef, I need to write it one step below the middle C of the bass clef. So just remember, although we write the middle C in 2 different places, it's the same key that you need to play. Okay, so I'm going to make this a minim and let's erase all the other notes. Right, so here's my starting note. And next, I don't need to count 8 steps down from all of these notes. What I'm going to do is compare the melody and move it up or down the intervals. So from B we are moving down a fourth. So here I'm going to move this down to an F, an interval of fourth, and then from there we are moving down to the next space. So it's a third below, and I'm going to move this F down to the next line below to this D. And then next we are moving back up to the F, the same F we wrote. Okay, and next you can see it's moving up to a B, the same B that we started on. So I'm going to write it here, and then it's moving a third up from that B to the ledger line. We need to go up to the next space. So here it's moving from line to line, and I'm going to move this up a third from space to space, and then again it moves up to the next line. So here I'm going to move the melody up 2 spaces up from this D. Okay, so that's all we need to do. Let's write in the stems. So this is my answer. You can try the next one. I'm going to write a bass clef here first and write in the key signature. There's an F sharp, and let's write the bar lines. Alright, so now I need to find the note. So I'm going to transpose the first note down an octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to end on 2 ledger lines below the stave onto this G. If I'm writing it in the bass clef, I need to compare this with the middle C. So you can see how many steps is it down from the middle C. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 steps down from the middle C. So in my bass clef, I'm going to count 4 steps down from this ledger line. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's my starting note. It's the same G that I found out, except that we are writing it in the bass clef. Alright, so I'm going to erase all of this. And now we can copy the notes. You can see there are 3 G's on the first bar. So I'm going to write the same note 3 times. And then it's moving 1 step up to the next A. And then it goes down to a G again. And then it goes down to a D. 4 steps down. And then from there we're going up to a E. 1 step up. And then another step down to a D. And then back to E. Another step up to F. And then finally we end on the same G that we started on. Right, so I've copied this answer. So you can try the next question on the next page. Once you have done that, let's go to page 50 on question number 2. This time you have to transpose the tunes up an octave into the treble clef. Make them suitable for violin or flute to play. So this time you can do the opposite. So you can count 8 steps up from the starting note. You can see it's starting on a line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need to end on 3 ledger lines up on the space. So let's find out how to write this note in the treble clef. So now I'm going to compare with the middle C of the bass clef. I need to have 6 steps up to this target note here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in my treble clef, I'm going to count 6 steps up from the middle C here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to end on this A as my starting note. Alright, so make sure you carefully check this out before you write the notes. Another way that you can try this is by comparing the starting note with your middle C. So this is moving 3 steps down from the middle C, and I'm going to find the actual note. 3 steps down from the middle C will be this A, and from this A I can count 8 steps up right on the treble clef. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll still come up to the same note. Okay, and let's copy the notes. So this time we are moving from A to D, 5 steps down. Next we have a B that's moving just 1 step up from the starting note. If you find a huge leap, you don't need to count the semitones above. Just find the closest note that you can see. I can see this is a D that's moving down to a C sharp. So I'm going to compare it with this D and move it down to a middle C, 1 step down. Any sharps or flats in your question, you need to copy them down as they are. And next you can see I'm not going to compare it with this C sharp. I'm going to compare with the last highest note that I wrote. So B is moving a third down to the next space, and here I'm going to move this B down to the next line to a G. Right, so we have 4 semiquavers and a quaver, and then finally we are going back to the D, 5 steps down from this A. Alright, so I'm done with this question, and you can try the next question. Let's copy down the treble clef first and the key signature. Let's draw the bar lines. So you can see the starting note is a D that is just 1 step up from the middle C. So I'm going to write the actual note here. So that's a D that is written here, and I need to count 1 octave up from this D. So let's count the steps up from space, line, space, line, space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. we're going to end up in this D on the 4th line. So D is moving down to middle C, and we're not going to write the middle C here. We're going to write a C above that. So we're going one step down from the D, and from there we're going to jump to a B, one step down, and we have 4 B's in the second bar. You can see on the third bar we have 2 more B's, and bar 4 and 5 we have all middle C's. So we're gonna take one step up from this B. Right, so now I can draw the stems. Alright, so I'm done with this question. So you can double check your answers. Make sure you write any dotted notes or slurs or tied notes that is given on the question as they are, and you can complete up to page 50. So that's it for this week. I'll see you next time.